You homeschool? But what about socialization? If I had $1 for every time someone asked me that question, I could probably fund our entire curriculum for the year. But here's the plot twist. Socialization is actually one of the exact reasons why we homeschool. That and 9 other reasons that might completely surprise you. Today, I'm sharing why our family chose this path. From the system that totally failed my nephew, to why we can take Disney trips in February where there are no lines. Win. Hey, if we haven't met, I'm Kim with Not Consumed Ministries. We help families grow in faith so they can live not consumed by life. I just finished up my 22nd year of homeschooling, and I can't wait to share why we've done it for so long. Whether you're curious about homeschooling, already doing it, or think you're completely crazy, stick around. You're sure to hear something interesting. Reason number 1. The system is broken. Okay, let's start with the elephant in the room. I truly believe our education system has some serious cracks, and unfortunately, I've seen this firsthand with my nephew Austin. By 2nd grade, the system had totally failed him. Not because he couldn't learn, but because he wasn't ready to sit still and learn the way that the system demanded. Austin was an active boy who needed more time outside, more movement, and more hands-on learning. But the system, it has no mercy and no flexibility. Sit down, be quiet, learn this way, on this timeline, or you are left behind. And that's exactly what happened to Austin. He got left behind. As a former 1st grade teacher, I saw this pattern over and over again. So many young children, especially boys, who simply weren't interested or ready for the system's outdated methods. And what does the system do? It either medicates these kids or makes them repeat grades. And this has to happen because otherwise they'll move on without them, never stopping to actually teach the content that these kids missed. It's like a conveyor belt that just keeps moving, whether kids are learning or not. Here's the scary part. This isn't just Austin's story. In the US, more than 78% of adults are considered functionally illiterate. Let that sink in. The system that's supposed to be educating our kids is failing on a massive scale. When nearly 8 out of 10 adults can't read at a proficient level, we can't keep pretending everything is fine. The system isn't just broken, it's failing our kids. Reason number 2. Teaching on your child's level is the key to success. Now this ties right into Austin's story. Every kid learns differently and at their own pace, right? In homeschooling, if my daughter is struggling with fractions, we can spend 3 more months on fractions until she gets it. No rush to keep up with the class, no moving on before she's ready. But here's the flip side. If my son breezes through multiplication in 2 days, we don't have to sit there for months doing busy work. You can move right on to division. As long as you aren't tied to your curriculum, homeschooling is a completely customized educational plan for each kid. Try getting that in a traditional classroom setting. Reason number 3, homeschool allows kids to learn in the method that's best for them. So my 2nd child is a visual learner. Give her a colorful chart or let her draw out a concept and she is in heaven. Her brother, he's all about hands-on learning. The kid wants to touch everything, build everything, take it all apart. In homeschool, we can cater to both. When we're learning about the solar system, she gets beautiful diagrams and an assignment to make a poster. He gets to build a 3D model with clay and actually feel the relative sizes of the planets. In a traditional classroom, they'd both have to sit still and listen to a lecture. One size fits all? More like one size fits no one. Reason number 4. Homeschool gives freedom to explore. This one is so fun. When my daughter was in the 4th grade, she was fascinated with ancient Egypt after she read one chapter in her history book. In a traditional school, that would have been it. On to the next chapter. But we had the freedom to deep dive. We spent 2 weeks exploring pyramids and mummies and hieroglyphics. We even tried making our own papyrus. On the flip side, when my son became interested in coding, we didn't have to wait for some elective class that might not even ever be offered. We found online tutorials that same day and he started learning immediately. When kids show genuine interest and excitement about learning something, why would we shut that down? Reason number 5. Homeschool provides flexibility. Okay, so this one is huge for our family. We're not slaves to the school bell schedule. If someone's having a rough morning, we can start at 10 or after lunch. If we're all feeling focused and energetic, we might knock out a whole week's worth of math in 2 days. When Grandma was sick last year, we could easily pack up our books and do school at her house while helping take care of her. Try explaining to a traditional school why your kid needs to miss 3 weeks for family reasons. Not happening. But with homeschool, we just did what our family needed and learned all at the same time. Reason number 6. Homeschool is the only way to ensure that my kids are taught from a biblical worldview. Now, as homeschoolers, we choose our curriculum. So I can make sure that our curriculum is written from a biblical worldview. And no, I don't mean Christian non-denominational. I mean biblical, scriptural worldview. I want my kids to see every subject through the lens of faith. When we're studying science, we can talk about God as the ultimate creator, straight from scripture. We learn history from the foundation of the Bible, and I teach our kids how archaeology supports the truth that we find in God's word. Truly, homeschooling allows that foundation of faith to be woven through everything my kids learn, not compartmentalized into 1 hour on Sunday morning. Reason number 7, homeschool allows us to keep the right priorities. Here's what I mean by this one. The world tells us that academic achievement is everything. Get high grades, get into the best college, get the best job, make the most money. And while I would agree that education is absolutely important, we don't want our kids to think that their worth is tied to their GPA. We want to raise kids who are kind, compassionate, and have strong character, not just kids who can ace a test. If my child grows up to be a janitor but has a heart for serving others and a strong relationship with God, I'll be prouder than if they become a CEO but lose their soul in the process. Homeschooling helps us keep those priorities straight. We can choose curriculum that won't crush them if we keep our eyes on what's most important, instead of forcing the best curriculum to get that test score. Also, we don't have to feel guilty about stepping back from a school assignment to deal with a hard issue because we know that that's most important, and academics will wait. Reason number 8, homeschool gives us better socialization. Okay, here's the big one everyone asked about. But what about socialization? Here's the thing. I want my kids to have good socialization, not just any socialization. In traditional school, kids are stuck with the same 25 kids their exact age for 8 hours a day. That's not real life. In the real world, my kids interact with people of all ages. At co-op, an 8-year-old can teach younger kids and at the same time learns from teenagers. At the grocery store, she confidently talks to the cashier. At church, she has meaningful conversations with adults who aren't just telling her to sit down and be quiet. Plus, we can choose the social influences in our kids' lives. Instead of worrying about negative peer pressure, bullying, which is totally out of control, or inappropriate conversations happening on the playground, we can surround our kids with families who share our values. They still learn to navigate different personalities and resolve conflicts, but they do it in an environment where I am around. My kids have friends from all different ages and backgrounds through homeschool groups, sports teams, and community activities. They're not socially awkward. They're socially confident because they've learned to interact with the whole world, not just this age-segregated classroom. As a former classroom teacher, trust me, kids are not getting to socialize nearly as much as you think they are, but that's another topic for later. Reason number 9, homeschool gives us a better family bond. This one was actually something I expected, but it turned out to be even more amazing than I imagined. We spent so much more quality time together through the homeschooling years. Not just doing lessons at the kitchen table either. My kids became genuine friends with each other because they weren't separated by artificial age groups all day. The older ones naturally helped the younger ones with reading, and the younger ones would share their latest discoveries and interests. They learned to problem solve together, play together, and yes, sometimes they drove each other crazy, but that's what siblings do sometimes. Honestly, I really got to know my kids. I enjoyed being around them during those formative years. We laughed together during school. We discovered new things together. We celebrated their aha moments together. I wasn't just the homework police. I was part of the whole process. Now that 3 have graduated, those bonds are still incredibly strong. The time we invested in being together during their education years created relationships that have lasted into adulthood. They still genuinely enjoy each other's company and hang out with the family because they want to, not because they feel obligated to. Reason number 10, homeschool gives us the opportunity to go places when it's not crowded. Okay, this last one is pure practical awesomeness. Do you know how amazing it is to go to the zoo on a Tuesday morning when there are like 12 other people there? Or to take a family vacation in October when everything is half priced and there are no crowds? We can visit museums when they're peaceful, go to the beach when it's not packed, and travel when flights are cheaper. Plus, and this is huge, when we get home from these adventures, there's no pile of homework waiting for us. The trip was the education. We're not trying to cram in worksheets after spending a day at a historical site. I could use so many examples of this, but a few years ago we went to Washington, D.C. for 3 days, and it was incredible. The kids learned more about American history walking through the Smithsonian Museum than they would have ever learned in a textbook. And when they got home, we were relaxed and happy, not stressed about catching up on missed assignments. So there you have it, 10 reasons why our family chose homeschooling. If you're considering homeschooling, I hope this gave you some things to think about. And if you're already homeschooling, I'd love to hear your reasons in the comments below. What made you choose this path for your family? Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this content. It really helps families like you find our videos. Thanks for doing that. You are a blessing, and we're thankful for you.